Welcome to a different video. I feel like I say that a lot now. You may be familiar with my Grave Stories series where I cover dark and spooky things, true crime, ghost stuff. I was a former grave digger. I kind of fascinated with spooky, scary stories. This is I don't even know if I can categorize this as that. This is a very sad, dark story, and it's different this time because this time it involves someone I knew, someone I worked with. I don't even know how I'm going to get into this, but I guess here we go. This is the story of a man I knew who murdered his family. I don't really have a script for this episode. I'm just going to tell you the events as they happened and as I know them to have happened. So here we go. Sam Haskell was a man that I worked with over the years. You've seen the videos I've done with him, my Stupid Idiot series where I was at the school as a gym teacher, my Skittles commercial where I was a spokesperson for Skittles. He's actually in my Keith Abacary Ninja Turtles music video. We dressed him up as Dolph Ziggler because he had blonde hair. So Sam was the guy who owned a Red camera. When I made stuff with Maker Studios, I had a producer, and Maker Studios had like DPs and just like this whole crew of everyone that would film videos for YouTubers. And I was one of those YouTubers. Sam was the guy who owned the camera and would rent it to the team of people to film these videos. And he always came with the camera. He was a DP, but he never really filmed the videos. There's always another DP that filmed it. Sam would just get like paid for the camera. He didn't even have to be there, but he always was there, especially on my shoots. He was a fan of mine. He used to talk to me all the time. He loved video games. He liked Keith Abacary. So he'd always be around. So I knew him basically as like the camera guy. He was a unique guy. He was a little different. For example, there was a time where my friend Paul and I, who directed a lot of the videos I did, Paul and I went to his house to pick up footage from a video we shot. We went there to his house, and the house was like really big. It was like a mansion basically. The room we went into was just completely empty. Like this big mansion with no furniture in it besides one desk with a computer and his Red plugged into it where he dumped the footage and he would process the Red camera footage. And there was like nothing else in the room. And Paul and I were like, what the heck? This is so strange. He grew up in the entertainment industry. His dad was a really big agent. That's what we assumed that's where the money came from for the house and how he got his Red camera. One interesting story I have about Sam was a time he asked me to come and be in a short film. It was either a short film or like they were filming a TV pilot and they wanted to show it to a network, so they're shooting an episode. I went to this location in Tarzana where Sam was filming this like project for these two people. It was a guy and a girl. They had written it and they were directing it, and they just needed me to do like a small part where I was wearing like a bunch of casts. Sam wanted to elaborate on my part because he was like a fan of mine. He's like, no, dude, this is too small of a part for you. You need to do something bigger in this. And then I remember the people walking away because he had a conversation with them that I couldn't really hear. And they walked inside, and then he said to me, I just told them I'm not filming the rest of their thing unless they give you like some more lines and stuff. And then they went inside to be like, what the heck do we do? This guy's like, this cameraman's hijacking our project. And I was like, oh my God, dude. But eventually I went inside and they got the shot they needed of a guy laying in a bed. And they just needed a shot of me like laying in a bed like this with a bunch of casts on. And that was pretty much all they needed. And he came about this whole other thing. So like we got everything done, and then I left, and the people, I could tell like they were like, this is going to be hard to get through this, because the guy's basically saying, I'm not going to film it for you unless you do what I want. He was trying to like direct it. So that was awkward and that was weird. And this is like one of my few experiences with him, because I'd only see him on set when we'd be filming my videos, and he would tell me how much he liked Keith. That was the time I like really worked with him alone without anyone else around. So that's pretty much my experience with Sam. And I stopped working with him and seeing him when Maker Studios shut down long ago. So I hadn't thought of this guy in like 8 to 10 years. And then my mom in November of 2023 texts me and says, hey, do you know this guy? And it was like some news link of like NBC News, whatever, something from Boston. My mom's in Massachusetts and she's watching the news. And she asked me if I knew there was a story about some guy in Los Angeles and some crime happened. And that's what I see. I'm filming a short film and I was like reading it as I was like on this set. I was like, Mom, why would you assume I'm just going to know some random person in a news article in Los Angeles? And then I'm reading it and it says Sam Haskell. And I was like, oh my God, I do know this person. And I texted my mom back. I was like, yeah, I do know this person. This is so bizarre. And it's saying how Sam allegedly at this point murdered his wife and then her mother and her father, so his in-laws, in Tarzana, which is here in LA, and then chopped them up and put them in bags, and then had day laborers come to the house to take the bags and throw them away in dumpsters.
These day laborers, the workers that we tracked down today, say on Tuesday afternoon they were paid $500 to collect some trash bags from the home of the man who's now in jail and accused of murder. The man told the workers they were full of rocks. The workers say when they picked them up, it felt like there was meat inside. These day laborers told us a chilling story of being hired Tuesday afternoon by a man we now know was Sam Haskell and asked to haul away 3 large trash bags from inside the garage at Haskell's home on Coldstream Terrace in Tarzana. They say they saw human body parts inside one bag, including a belly button. They say they took the bags right back to Haskell, left them on the driveway, returned his money, and drove immediately to the police. Haskell was arrested Wednesday after the dismembered torso of a woman was found in what police say was one of those trash bags in a bin in a parking lot in Encino. Police then searched Haskell's home, and law enforcement sources have told the I-Team they found a lot of blood and evidence inside that suggests the home was the scene of a murder. He's being held in lieu of $2 million bail on suspicion of murder. No criminal charges have been filed yet, but he's expected to make an initial court appearance Monday morning.
They went to a police station and told the cops what happened. And the cops said, we can't do anything. You have to go to another police department. The guys were shocked. And then they go to another police department, which was the highway patrol, I think. And they said, we can't do anything for you. You have to call 911. It's like, what the heck? You're reporting a murder and the cops are just like, yeah, go somewhere else. This is insane to me. So then finally, the guys called 911. And these guys were freaking out, too, because they thought this guy, now he's seen them, he's going to come for them, he's going to try to kill them. So these guys call 911, they report it, and eventually the cops come out to the house. And I think by this point, Sam had then taken the bags himself and dumped them in a dumpster. It wasn't until later when a person was rummaging through the dumpsters somewhere in LA, and they opened up a bag and they found a limb in the dumpster. And then they called the cops, and the cops came, investigated the dumpster. Then the cops went to Sam's place, investigated in his place, and then they found all the bags of body parts in different dumpsters around LA. And then Sam was arrested.
A Tarzana man is in jail on murder charges following the disappearances of his wife and in-laws. All 3 bodies are still unaccounted for.
Mei Li, her mom and stepdad, who are all unaccounted for tonight, are all originally from China. In fact, they only have one family member who lives here in the United States. And with help from a translator, we spoke with him today about their traumatizing disappearance. On November 8th, someone found a woman's torso in a trash bag in Encino, and video linked that discovery to Sam Haskell's home in Tarzana. Hours later, police said Haskell's wife, May, her mom, Yan Cheng Wang, and stepdad, Gao Shan Li, were missing.
Law enforcement sources told the I-Team officers searched Haskell's home and found a lot of blood and evidence inside that suggests it was the scene of a murder. Haskell's wife, May, is missing, along with her parents seen in photos from the LAPD.
It was when Sam was arrested that I found out about this through the news article my mom sent me. And I texted immediately the producer I worked with at Maker, a bunch of other people, camera people, and people who knew Sam. And I was like, are you guys seeing this? Have you seen this? And most of them hadn't seen it at that point. It was just like, it didn't feel real. It's so strange that it's so weird. It's just like, this isn't a real thing. This isn't happened. This is in movies. And this guy that we all worked with, and we all had like fond memories. This is some of the best days of my life, filming these videos. And then to hear like, oh, that person then ended the 3 lives. It was just, I couldn't believe it. So I had to like talk to them. To like, this is real, right? Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And like to have them react to it helped me understand that this really did happen. And this is strange. I thought about it earlier this year. I was like, I wonder what's going on with that. And there was no updates until a few days ago. Paul, my director friend who went over to get footage with me that one time, sent me a new link that says Sam Haskell dies in prison from a self-end.
A Tarzana man accused of a triple murder has died in jail. Deputies say Samuel Haskell was found at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility just after 4 a.m. Saturday.
He was charged with the disappearance of his wife and parents. Investigators say he dumped dismembered body parts in an Encino trash bin.
As for a motive, Ackman says Haskell had been having an affair with a 27-year-old woman. But his suicide means the world will never find out the reason for such a heinous crime.
Now no one knows why he did it. And they also have still not found the remains of the parents. Apparently it's only his wife they have found. They had 3 kids. The 3 kids are with other family members. And I've just been thinking about this constantly. It's so morbid and depressing and sad. I can't even imagine what their kids are going through. Both of their parents are gone. I mean, who cares about him? But this poor woman and her parents. So now he's gone, and there will never be the answers that her family was hoping for. He basically gets away with it. Thinking about things that happened in the past and the way he would act, I feel like it's pretty obvious he was some type of a sociopath, because he didn't really have too many emotions. It was kind of just like, he was always like this, and he talked like this, and he was like, yeah, yeah. And it was just everything. When he was excited, he'd be like, yeah, that's really cool. And he'd be mad, he'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. It was like, there was almost no emotion. And now you'd think like, oh, that's a sociopath, knowing what he's done. But beforehand, you don't want to judge someone. I just wish we could have known he was such an evil monster. Or maybe he wasn't then. Maybe something happened to him. He's a monster now. He ended up being a monster and being the biggest villain I've ever encountered in my entire life. And this poor woman and her parents fell victim of it. I wish there was a way someone could have warned them. But now I'm just talking fantasy. So anyway, this could help raise awareness for mental health. And I really, really hope people out there who are having any struggle with anything, some emotional imbalance or sadness or anger, like, you're allowed to talk to people about it. You don't have to feel like you're a bad person or something's wrong with you if you don't feel right. Because this Sam clearly was struggling with something. If he had talked to someone, this might not have happened. So I would really like to encourage and promote the idea of talking about your feelings and what's going on in your head, no matter what. It's an incredibly dark story and really strange when it's someone you hung out with. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves.